and welcome to Sanjha TV. I have in the studio with me today City of Surrey Councillor Linda Annis, as well as she is the Executive Director of Crime Stoppers here in the Lower Mainland. Welcome to the studio, Linda Annis.
Thank you so much for having me this morning.
Thank you. I was excited to talk to you because I have found out from a press release I received that you have some great ideas about how to get this extortion sorted out. We've been talking a lot about extortion. There has been so much. It's every morning we wake up, we think, oh gosh, is it another shooting? And this is what's happening almost every day. We're getting some more reports of a shooting. A lot of people are terrified to even have a successful business. You know, the Canadian dream of having your own business, working hard and making something of your life. Now people are trying to just live very modestly and not celebrate their success because they're worried they're going to become a target. So we've talked to many different levels of police. We've talked to many different levels of government. No one really has a clear, idea of how to fix this situation, but you came up with something very interesting. So let's talk about what you came up with to combat extortion and at least get to the bottom of things.
Well, thank you so much for having me on today. And I think this is such a timely subject. This has plagued our city for far, far too long. And the police, I know, are doing everything possible, both the Surrey Police Service and the RCMP, to get this problem under control. But one of the things that has been missing is the city has 500 cameras. These are cameras that are used for in traffic situations. They're at most of the major intersections.
Okay.
They're only available to view, that we have operators there on regular business hours, Monday through Friday. What I'm proposing is that we give access to these cameras in real time to the police. Right now, if the police are wanting to get the footage, they've got to make a request to City Hall, and then they can get the footage. But there's a lot of time that's lapsed. And as we know, when you're trying to solve criminal activity, the sooner you can get the evidence, the more likely you are to be able to solve the crime.
Right.
So what I'm proposing is that the Surrey Police Service or their designate has access to these cameras in real time, 24/7, because as we know, most of the extortion now is happening after midnight, and there's no staff on.
Yeah, that's a great idea. So 24 hours a day, that surveillance would be happening, and we'd have access to it right away rather than going through the tedious task of requesting that information.
Well, and I think it's so important, there's shootings that occur and cars are leaving or people are fleeing. The sooner we can get visuals of evidence like the car or people, the more apt that we are to get this to be solved. I think it takes about 4 minutes from the time something occurs to when the call is actually received by SPS or the police.
Right.
4 minutes, the car, if it's a car, can be well across the city somewhere. So the sooner we can get this information, the more important it is. And I just think that we've got to get on this right away.
Right. And if we get that video footage and we as media put it out there, someone's going to know something. So I think that's a great idea.
Well, this wouldn't necessarily be going to the media. This is for the police to view, to use as part of their evidence.
Right.
This is used in other cities, and I'll just give a couple of examples, but Kelowna has this system. They have about 900 cameras, and they had a lot of problems with crime, particularly in the summer months, and these cameras have helped them immeasurably. London, England, given it's not Canada, but they have over 1 million cameras throughout the city.
Wow.
So, and it's helped a lot of various serious crime be avoided.
Right. So it's tested and it's proven that it does work. So we do need that. And eventually, if the police does get that footage and they do review it and they need the public's help, that's where media can come in, and then we can probably show the video at some point if we're allowed to.
Absolutely. Oftentimes, the media, both by the police and through my role at Crime Stoppers, we put footage out there because we want to just remind people, have you seen this? Because oftentimes you see something and you don't think it's really important.
Right.
But when the police are looking at exactly what you saw, that's a good cue for you to call in and give whatever information you have.
Absolutely. Any tip, even if you think it's not relevant, it just might be.
Well, and it's so important. And one of the complaints that I hear from the police is they're not getting enough information from the people. We know people know things.
Yes.
We know that people know who is doing some of these crimes, or they're seeing unusual activity in neighborhoods. Even if you think it's inconsequential or you're just suspicious of somebody, call the police or call Crime Stoppers and let them decide whether or not this is useful information.
Right. And I think that having those cameras as well, when we have those cameras in place, the police will be able to build their case. So if somebody does come forward with a tip and says, you know, this person's involved, the police can actually say, yes, we have this footage to support that allegation.
Absolutely. You know, the more information the police can get, and particularly in real time, I think that's the critical piece, is the sooner the police can get information about a shooting or any, you know, criminal activity, the more likelihood is that they're going to be able to solve it.
Right. It's a great tool. So I look forward to seeing what comes of this. I think it's a great idea, and I'm a little surprised we hadn't thought of it sooner, but thank you for thinking of it, and hopefully it comes to fruition. So I do want to talk to you about something that came up in media. We get all this information. There's been some text messages that people are calling controversial between you and Chief Lipinski of the Surrey Police Service. People are saying that you are using your clout as a politician to influence Surrey Police Service and specifically Chief Lipinski. So please clear up what the text messages were. And for our viewers that are watching, let's get this resolved, because people are asking a lot of questions and pointing a lot of fingers at you.
Well, and I'd like to say thank you for the opportunity to clear it out, because the information that out there is missing a lot of very important facts.
Okay.
First and foremost, I got a lot of calls from many residents that live around 4 different golf courses.
Okay.
For whatever reason, some of the media has singled out the golf course where I happen to live, but this is a problem that was occurring around 4 different golf courses.
Right.
So I called to Chief Lipinski and asked him if they were doing enhanced roadside checks, not just at the golf course, but out throughout Surrey.
Okay.
And he explained to me, indeed, they were.
Right.
I then got a couple of messages, which I forwarded on to him via text, which is what you're referring to,
Okay.
asking, and what I said to him is, could you please contact the general manager at the golf course to let them know what's going on. And the reason why I did that, and I would pass on any information, because oftentimes we'll get information from the public that really should go to the police, and I will pass it on. So this is really no different.
Okay.
But in this case, what I suggested to him was that he contact the manager of the golf course, and specifically the one that was in the text was Morgan Creek.
Okay.
The reason why I asked him to do that was because if restaurants are over-serving, if their servers are over-serving, the management needs to know.
Right.
And, you know, to me, having roadside checks are fabulous. I have zero tolerance for anybody that's drinking and driving. I want to set that record straight. And so, you know, the intent was only to inform Chief Lipinski that there was problems here and ask if he thought it was a good idea to contact the general manager at the golf course to let him know. And it's my understanding that he did that, and I think he contacted perhaps some of the other golf courses in question too.
Right. So that sounds like a warm handoff, a kind of an introduction saying, here, this is the person that you need to address this with. You're just the messenger.
Absolutely. You know, and we do this from time to time, not specifically about this issue, but it could be anything about people complaining about parking or whatever the issue is. So I really saw this as no different. I wasn't asking him to do anything,
Right.
to stop anything. I was just asking him, you know, if he thought it was appropriate to go talk to the golf course general manager.
So you had addressed other golf courses, not just Morgan Creek area, but other golf courses as well.
That's correct. There was 4 golf courses that were involved. There was Hazelmere, Peace Portal, Northview, and Morgan Creek.
Okay. At any time, did you make threats and say, Lipinski, you better fix this right now, get out of my area?
Absolutely not, no. And the text, when you look at it, was a very innocuous text that was shown on Global TV last night. It really just said what I said, you know, that this was going on and you might want to contact the general manager. That was it. I didn't ask him to do anything else.
And this is not uncommon. There's other situations that occur in the city of Surrey, which is who you are serving, where you want to address issues that are important to the public and business owners.
Well, and a perfect example would be, you know, in the summertime, oftentimes residents call us about parking issues in Crescent Beach.
Right.
And of course, I would just pass those on. They're concerned residents or concerned businesses. So it's time to pass it on to the police and let them deal with it and however they see fit.
Right. So perhaps the story got blown out of proportion because you live in Morgan Creek and they just wanted to latch onto that.
Well, I have no idea why somebody would do this. It kind of, to be totally honest, caught me by surprise because I felt I was just passing on information.
Right. Well, in preparation for our interview today, I remember I was just kind of researching and I came across that story about the text messages and I thought, oh my goodness, what could these text messages be? And then I got to see what they were, and I thought, where's the rest of the story? I actually thought that's making a mountain out of a molehill, is what I felt.
Well, it seemed that way to me because, you know, it's my duty to pass information on to the police if I am given information. And, you know, as I say, I have no tolerance for drinking and driving. And if there's a problem at Morgan Creek or there's a problem at Hazelmere or on any street in Surrey, I want the police there, and I want them to be stopping people and taking their keys away.
Right. And for those that are saying you try to use your influence as a politician, no threats were made.
No, absolutely none. And there was no real ask either, other than, you know, to perhaps call the general manager at the golf course.
Right. And did Lipinski actually follow up with the manager?
It's my understanding that he did. I don't know 100%.
Right.
So I certainly wasn't part of the conversation, but I believe he or somebody from Surrey Police Service did.
Right. So I know I've talked to people, residents of Surrey, that have told me that you're very approachable. And you've helped them with road issues where there's been a problem in construction and there's not a safe sidewalk, that kind of thing. Let's speak a bit about that.
Absolutely. You know, that's part of my job, you know, is to serve the residents of Surrey. And if you've got problems in your neighborhood, you know, sidewalks, garbage pickup, you've got problems at the rec center, whatever your issue is, if it's a city issue, I need to be able to help you to solve and fix your problem.
Right. So at the end of the day, all you were trying to do was just help.
Absolutely. I was just trying to help, and look what happened. And, you know, it's unfortunate because, you know, I do think as a politician, if you're given information, it's your duty to pass it on to the appropriate department to deal with it. And that's what I did in this case.
Yeah. And so you were vying for the position of mayor in October. That's very exciting. And you've got a few more members to announce very soon.
Absolutely. I'm really excited. Stay tuned for January 21st. There'll be an announcement for 3 more people.
Okay. So far, who's on your team? Let's talk about them.
So far, we have Clint Stewart.
Okay.
Clint is president of Wally Little League. I have Deb Antefe. Deb is a mom, and she's been a real advocate for children with disabilities. She is the mother of one. Lovely lady. I have Janet Brown, who is formerly with Global TV, and she works now for SUMS as their Director of Communications in Surrey.
Okay.
And I also have Taj Sandhu, who is a home inspector and has been a little bit of a radio talk show personality around home repairs as well. So
very well-rounded team you've got so far.
I do, and I also have Mike Bowes returning as well.
Okay, yes, of course, Mike as well. And we do know Mike because he's a city councillor now. So tell me, the rest of the team is coming on the 21st of January, and you're going to be announcing that. But we have no idea who it is yet.
No, but I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised.
You think so?
I do.
What makes you say that?
Oh, because I got some great candidates.
Yeah. So we've got 3 more coming.
Yes.
That's very exciting. So I'll let you know if I'm happy with the choices, but so far the team seems very strong, very well-rounded. Seems like a good bunch.
Thank you. I think so.
You're welcome. So with your work with Crime Stoppers and the extortion that's happening in Surrey, what can you kind of help with as far as your role and extortion?
Well, I think a lot of people are afraid to report, right? One of the things that Metro Vancouver Crime Stoppers is doing different that we don't normally do is we're taking tips from victims, because we know some victims are paying and they're not telling the police that they're doing this. They can report this information through Crime Stoppers, and if they do, they will always remain anonymous. So even if someone's arrested, goes to court, nobody will ever know who it was that gave the information.
Okay.
And conversely, for the general public, we know people know things and they're not reporting, and they're probably afraid for their own personal safety.
Right.
But if you call Crime Stoppers, again, anonymity is protected.
Okay, and many different languages. So our Punjabi-speaking audience that's watching now, they can report in Punjabi or Hindi or whatever language they speak.
We take tips in 115 different languages.
150?
115.
115 languages.
Absolutely.
Wow.
And we're also open 24/7. So if people want to reach out to Crime Stoppers, not just about extortion, but about any suspected criminal activity, call us at 1-800-222-TIPS or visit our website, www.solvecrime.ca.
Wonderful, Linda. What other issues do we need to address in the city of Surrey other than extortion and crime, obviously, but what other things are on, the forefront for you?
Well, right now, I think the big one probably is we're coming back to council this coming Monday.
Okay.
We're going to start to work on the 2026 5-year rolling budget.
Is this the first time you're getting together after the new year?
That's correct,
Okay.
yes. Yeah, and so what council staff has been working on putting together the budget. We've had some budget consultation,
Okay.
so it'll be interesting to see how this budget plays out.
Yes, very exciting things for Surrey in the future. Surrey is growing and great things are happening here, and I see the future as even more great things happening. I love Surrey.
It's a great, great city. I think the best decision I've ever made, short of running for council, was moving to Surrey 25 years ago.
Right. Definitely a Surreyite.
Yes.
Councillor Annis, if you want to give any message to the public, you can do so now, just over there.
I just want to say how much I appreciate your support and, this situation around the golf courses and the concern with Chief Lipinski. I think it's certainly blown out of proportion. I think as a councillor, it's my duty to provide any department within the city of Surrey with information. And I was merely just passing on information and with no request or direction to the chief, other than a suggestion that to perhaps call the general manager at the golf course. And of course I did that because I want to make sure that the restaurant is not over-serving customers, because to me, anybody that hops in their car that's been drinking should be pulled over, whether it's in Morgan Creek or any part of Surrey.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Councillor Annis. Looking forward to seeing you again. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. So if you have anything happening in your life that you need help with, that you feel that is a problem in the city of Surrey and you want to reach out for help, please don't let this deter you. Talk to Councillor Linda Annis. This story may have been blown out of proportion. She's cleared up the mystery for us, so please keep watching Sanjha TV. Thank you for watching. Sat Sri Akal.